Ukraine's President Zelensky says a Russian ballistic missile strike has killed and injured dozens of people in the northeastern city of Sumy. Unverified images shared on social media showed burnt-out cars and thick smoke rising into the sky. Sumy, which is about 50 kilometres from the Russian border, has faced a wave of intense attacks in recent weeks. Russia and Ukraine agreed last month to stop targeting each other's energy facilities. But since then, both sides have repeatedly accused the other of breaking the US brokered deal. Our Ukraine correspondent James Waterhouse gave us this update from Kyiv.
It's a pretty devastating picture emerging from the northeastern city of Sumy. At least 20 people have been killed, according to the officials there, after Russia launched 2 ballistic missiles at the city centre. There is dashcam footage from one driver, which appears to show the moment of impact for one of them along a major central street. You can make out the Sumy sign, the distinctive Sumy sign you're greeted with when you drive into the city. And then what follows is just strewn bodies across what looks like a square. There's a burning bus, there are bent trees, and the occasional colour of the jacket that is on the body of someone lying on the pavement. It is a scene that is similar to a strike last week on the southern city of Kremlin, but this death toll seems to be greater, and it will only rise. And Sumy is a place that is so accustomed now, or has to endure, habitual bombardments from Russian forces, mostly across the nearby border, where the president here in Kyiv is saying that they are preparing for a major spring offensive to try and pursue their ultimate goal still, which is taking as much of Ukraine as possible. It is a familiar Russian tactic to target Ukrainian cities. You will hear the Kremlin, they will say, well, we are targeting military sites, but the evidence continues to mount to an overwhelming level that they are targeting cities, densely populated civilian areas, and this looks like an especially bad strike.
And whatever ceasefire talks are taking place, it's not stopping these strikes.
It is not. And we look at President Trump's comments yesterday that talks seem to be going well, negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Well, there is no reprieve for every inch of Ukraine in the face of this full-scale invasion. Moscow is continuing to launch drone and missile strikes daily, mostly at night. Kyiv, there were 4 hours of sirens last night. There is still no agreement between Kyiv and Washington over a potential energy deal, which would see America invest in Ukraine in exchange for continued military help. That deal is no closer. Russia is continuing to hold firm on its demands of the complete occupation of 4 Ukrainian provinces and the political capitulation of Ukraine. And so if you are a Ukrainian on a morning like today, that idea of peace, or certainly a ceasefire, feels no closer.
What capacity does Ukraine have to stop a strike of this nature?
Well, Ukraine has received air defences from Western partners, mostly the Americans, over the course of the past 3 years, which has enabled it to intercept the majority of Russian drones or missiles, but not all. But if we are talking about ballistic missiles in the case of Sumy, then they are much difficult to intercept, not least because they are closer to Russia there. So you get less notice from the point of siren and impact. These rely on weapon systems, these Patriot systems, which are worth billions of pounds, to try and take them out. And they are not waterproof, to use a term. And so, in terms of what Ukraine can do, I mean, also in Sumy, the Russians launch glide bombs frequently. These are packed with explosives, dropped from a distance from a fighter jet, and they can do little to nothing.
Well, that was the latest from James Waterhouse, our correspondent in the Ukrainian capital. We have just had an update, though, about the number of people who have died as a result of this Russian ballistic missile attack overnight in Sumy. We're now hearing that 31 people have died, so that's another increase in the death toll. And also more than 80 people are injured. Ukraine's emergency services have obviously been at the scene trying to rescue people affected. A large number of people still missing, and the streets are just strewn with debris because of that huge attack. President Zelensky said only filthy scum could attack ordinary people in that way, noting that today is a key date in the Christian calendar, Palm Sunday, and he's called for a worldwide response, a tough response, saying peace is impossible if you don't put pressure on the aggressor. Let's speak to Ludmila Voronina. She is a businesswoman working in the agricultural sector in Sumy. Ludmila, thank you for joining us here on BBC News. Tell us what you heard during this attack.
An awful morning, an awful day. My husband went to the market. I stayed at home, and I've heard a great blow. My house jumped, everything in my house jumped. Nevertheless, we are in 2 or 3 kilometers from the place of explosion. The place is the Academy of Banking. It was an explosion from 2 ballistic rockets. First, and in 2 minutes, the second. As you know, today is a Willow Sunday. Easter is a great holiday in Ukraine. All people go to the church with willow branches. Then, after the church, they will go to the streets, sit at the benches, especially near that place, near the Academy of Banking. And there was a trolley bus who passed that place. It exploded, and all people burned alive in that trolley bus, as far as I know from media.
Yes, we are seeing that vehicles were damaged and are burning, and that a bus is included in that. How safe will people feel to go to church next weekend for Easter?
There was no case Russians attack the churches. So I think people decided to go there. They thought it was a safe place.
Ludmila, what is it like living in Sumy in recent months with the increase in attacks? Do you ever feel safe at home?
I feel never safe at my home. Some of my children are abroad, but we stay at home. I have animals, dogs, cats. It's my private house. I have an old mother. I have business here. And of course, it's my motherland. It's difficult for me to leave it. But if the state of things will be just the same as today, I will have no other way out from it as to leave my house.
What trust do you have in talks to try to find peace?
I didn't understand your question fully.
That's okay. Let me say again.
Yeah, yes.
Do
please.
you believe that talks to find peace can work?
Of course not. Not, I am sure. Russians continue their attacks. It's very loudly in our town. A lot of explosions near the town. All villages are destroyed in the direction of Russia. All people are evacuated from that places, and there is no life in that places in the direction of Russia. It's possible only in Sumy, but according to the last news, it's also difficult here. And as the breaking news of the local media said, at the time 34 people are dead, among them 2 children, and more than 80 people are injured.
Yes, we are watching those casualty numbers increase, sadly, throughout the morning. Ludmila, we appreciate you talking to us and describing what life is like in Sumy. Ludmila Voronina, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for your calling. Thank you.